Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I am joined by a Boston University freshman and former Minnetonka girls hockey player, where she notched up 98 points in her high school hockey career. Lacey Martin, welcome to the podcast, and how's everything going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. Now, I want to start off by talking about this season for a little bit. You're coming off a tough loss against UConn on the road. What do you think went wrong during that game, and how are you going to use that loss to help your team for the rest of the year?
Um, that loss was really tough. I actually didn't play, and two other girls on our team didn't play because we were contact traced for COVID. And so I think that week for our team was just kind of a big mess because we were trying to figure that out, and there was new lines and everything. And I mean, missing three people, it's a different team dynamic. So I obviously watched the game, and I think that was a big reason that we didn't play as well as we could have. But coming off of that, I know we start practices after this week, after we get cleared again to all play since we just were traveling. But I think we're just going to focus on getting that team chemistry back and really playing as a team. And we have two really tough teams coming up the next couple weekends. So we're just going to prepare for that.
Yeah, and on a more positive note, you did get your first win on the road being New Hampshire to start off this season. What did you take away from that series, especially since you guys played great defensively in those two games?
Yes, that was a really fun series. It was nice to get back in the ice again and play a game, a few games actually. And coming off that first win, obviously at my first college game, I was really nervous. But after that game, I kind of was a little lighter on my feet the second game, and it was just nice to get that under my belt. And we did lose the second game, but we still felt we played pretty well, and it just didn't really go our way. But I'd say our defense was a big factor why we won those. But the second game, we kind of got some unlucky bounces, and yeah.
You guys got a lot of shots at net, though, especially that first game. What do you think you have to do offensively to get more goals scored?
I think we did get a lot of initial shots on net that game, but we weren't following them up and getting the rebounds and kind of attacking the net. And so I feel like we would finish on a lot more opportunities if we would have done that. And I think that's a big thing that we could improve on. But yeah, I think that's probably why because we did have a lot of initial shots, and some of them were in the stomach or yeah. So we could probably create more opportunities with rebounds and stuff like that.
Now, after playing your first two college hockey games, what do you overall take away from college hockey and being in Hockey East?
It's a lot faster game, a lot more physical, but having two games under my belt, I feel like I'll be able to, or I've adjusted a little more, and hopefully the upcoming games our team can, we have a lot of freshmen defensemen as well. So I feel like coming off of those games that after the break too, that will be coming out good. So I hope.
Yeah, and looking ahead to your schedule, you're playing your first home game against New Hampshire to start off the new year. How do you think home ice will help you during this COVID year, and what are you most looking forward to playing at Walter Brown Arena for the first time?
I think home ice advantage would be really nice. We've practiced there all year, obviously, and it'll be fun. I mean, Walter Brown normally has a really good atmosphere with the fans and stuff, and I'm guessing they're planning on something to keep that atmosphere. Other teams always say that they like playing at Wally B. And so I think that will be exciting for us, and will kind of give us more motivation and more adrenaline for that game. So I think us playing at home right away will definitely be nice. Yeah.
And you're also playing a team that you played before to start off the year. Are you going to use anything you learned from the first two games against them at home ice for the first time?
Yeah, I think I'm honestly not sure if we're playing UNH again. We were told maybe we'll play them again or Providence. And then I think the next weekend it changed to Northeastern stuff because our schedule's really on the fly. But if we were to play them again, I think we definitely use what we learned from the first couple of games to our advantage.
Yeah, I was checking the schedule last night, and it says you guys are still planning to play against New Hampshire to start off the new year. I'm just curious if anything changed or not on that end.
Yeah, no, I think it's either UNH or Providence, but I'm not 100% sure. We haven't been to the rink yet since being back, so.
Yeah, and you've also had to have made many adjustments to your season, as well as many other college hockey players. You've had to adjust many schedule changes throughout the season. How have you mentally stayed prepared for all those changes and postponements to your schedule? Because I know personally from the men's team, they haven't even played a game to start off the year. How have you tried to prepare for a lot of the fluctuating schedule that's supposed to happen in Hockey East?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this year too, beginning of the semester, even with school and stuff, I just was kind of preparing for the worst, honestly, just like maybe like going home, I don't know, maybe not playing, all that stuff. But I think our team is like thankful for every game we get. And so even if we were just to play 3 games and that would be it, like that's kind of the mindset that we've kind of set as a team, just so that every time we step on the ice, like it might be the last time for 3 weeks. So just to be grateful for that. And I feel like that's a mindset that really helps you like get through this, because it is really weird. Like our men's team obviously got canceled right before the break. And that was also, we didn't know if that was going to affect us either. So we're like, hey, like this break, these games, let's take advantage of it, because we don't know when our next one is. We don't know who we're playing and all that stuff. So the changing schedule and stuff is a little stressful. Sometimes like you don't know who you're playing or whatever, but you just got to be ready at all times and be like grateful for playing those games.
Yeah, it's definitely weird as a fan because you just don't know who your team's going to be playing this weekend, because you think you know, and then it's like the next day it gets announced that it's another team. So as a fan, it's definitely been odd to see that, but I think Hockey East has done a good job trying to get the season started in a safe way.
I think they've done a great job too. I mean, it's tough to control all of this, so I think it's been ran pretty well.
And you obviously haven't played in front of any fans this year. How have you adjusted to that, and how you've tried to bring energy on the ice with no crowd noise off the ice?
Yeah, we always say that our bench has to be loud. We have to be cheering each other on, because obviously, like, you score a goal and it's silent in the rink. It's really weird. But I think energy in the locker room on the bench is most important, to keep that energy up after, like, especially with no fans. So we really make that a priority for our team right now.
And to start off this year, your team was ranked 9th in the country. How do you try to manage the high expectations that your team has, because you had one of the top recruiting classes coming into this year?
Yeah, I mean, being in the top 10 right away, it's a lot of pressure. And again, we kind of just take one day at a time. We're like, hey, if to keep up this top 10 spot, we have to work hard every day. We have to come to this team every day. We have to compete at practice every day. So I think just always bringing that compete level. That's a big thing my coach says all the time, is always to compete. And obviously we did lose that top 10 spot recently, but we're going to just keep working to get back there.
Yeah, I think you guys are definitely going to get back as the season goes on. It's just obviously with COVID going on and some of the tough breaks that your team had, I think eventually your team will get back on that top 10 track, and I hope you guys do.
Yes, me too.
Now, what have you improved on the most to this season compared to last year in high school hockey?
I feel like my biggest adjustment has been like my physical play. Obviously, I've only played 2 games, but that's what I've been working on the most. Just because I'm not like the biggest or strongest girl out there. And so I feel like at college hockey, you really have to bring that to the next level. And playing a team like Northeastern or BC, like they play really physical. And so I think that's one thing I want to work on, and I have been working on. I haven't really, 2 games, like I focused on that, but yeah, we'll see how I utilize that in the following or the next games.
Yeah, and have you adjusted to some of the other adjustments that you've had to make in college hockey on the ice? Obviously, the mental side's a big adjustment that a lot of players have to make, making quicker decisions with the puck. Has that been an adjustment for yourself, and how have you tried to manage that?
Yeah, that has been a big adjustment for me. I played some like with some college girls in the summer too, and I've done some USA hockey stuff, and so that kind of prepared me for like the faster game, the mental toughness and that sort of stuff. And so I feel like I've kind of taken the knowledge I've learned from that and transferred it over to here, because that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, 3-on-3 overtime has also been introduced to college hockey this year. I know you haven't played in one yet, but how excited are you to potentially be in one, and what's it going to be like to have more scoring chances in some open ice?
Yeah, 3-on-3 is, you got a lot of time and space, and have a lot of time to make plays and stuff, and that's what I like to do best, is maybe like be patient, slow the game down, make some plays. So that would be really exciting, to be in a 3-on-3 overtime game. We played 3-on-3 at practice one time, full ice, just to try it, and it's fun. So we'll see. I think that's a crazy adjustment, and but I think it's a fun way to play and for an overtime, just because you have a lot of the time to do stuff. So
Yeah, as a fan, it's been great to watch because last year they had 4-on-4 overtime, and it's just not the same because there's a lot of icing and face-offs that have to be done since there isn't much space on the ice. So I think it's definitely changed the game, and I think it's been a lot more fun to watch as a fan. And I was just curious, as a player, is it fun to be on the bench and watch those other games that you've experienced before when it's
yeah,
still a team?
yeah. I think it's really cool to watch, especially like some really good players when they have that time and space, like all the plays they can make, and like yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah.
Now, how have the freshman class looked like so far in your eyes, and how have you and the rest of your class adapted to the new team, especially since you'll be a key part of the team, and since that's a very odd year due to the virus going on right now?
Yeah, coming in as a freshman class, I mean, we all didn't know each other very well, but we were a very tight-knit class. Like, we're all best friends, and I think we have a very talented group. And I think our, like, closeness as friends also has brought, like, a different dynamic to the team as well. But I'm lucky to play with, like, my other freshmen because they are very good, and I think we, as the year goes on and the next couple of years, we can add a lot to our team and produce. And yeah, our freshman class is great.
And how have the upperclassmen helped you guys transitioning into college hockey, and who in particular has helped you out the most?
I'd say all of our upperclassmen have been great for our transition. Everyone has like welcomed us with open arms, and especially during this weird year, they have been so understanding about like maybe us starting off a little slower, being really nervous at practice, because normally we have training in the summer where we come to Boston and we actually train together, and we kind of get to know, like, we get to know each other, the rink, obviously how we lift, like that stuff. But coming in with no summer prior, that was a little tough for us. So that adjustment, they really helped with that, and they were really understanding. And so it made us, like, it took the pressure off of us right away. But I would say all of our upperclassmen have been really helpful.
Yeah, and you also get to play with Jessie Comfer, who's one of the top players in Hockey East this year. What's it like to be her teammate, and what has she done to help you for your transition into college hockey more personally?
Yeah, Jessie is a great hockey player. She obviously is an inspiration to a lot of people, and I've gotten pretty close to her over the past month or so. And I think I mean, just to watch her play, like, you can learn a lot from her as well. She has made my adjustment great as well. She is a great leader on and off the ice, and I think her compete level and her intensity is always like 100% there. So I think that's like great for his team as well, and especially for the freshmen. Like, she like shows us how we should always compete at practice, always at games. Like, yeah, I think that's great for our team as well.
Do you think her leadership skills are something that you're going to translate when you're an upperclassman and a leader on the team in a few years?
Yeah, for sure. I think I think her compete level and just like her expectations she has for herself and her team would be something that everyone on our team like will transfer, especially like us underclassmen and the freshmen. I think that's a great thing to bring to our team. Yeah.
Now, transitioning, you were talking about how you couldn't go to Boston for the summer to train with the team. So my question is, how was your off season this year, and how was your quarantine overall, and what'd you do to pass the time and prepare for this unusual season to happen?
Yeah, the quarantine, I mean, the first couple months, that was the longest time I've ever gone without skating in my life. And so it was kind of weird. And I obviously, it was a very stressful time for me because I'm supposed to go play college hockey in the fall. And I'm like, am I going to be ready without this big break or whatever? But once everything started to open up throughout the summer, I trained like 5 to 6 days a week um, at the gym, like on the rink, at the rink. I do a lot of off ice stuff too. And I really just was like, I'm going to make the most of what I can do to get myself ready for the fall, because I mean, that's all I could do. Like, I didn't have as many opportunities as I did the summers before to like get ready for, I mean, even my high school season, I would do a lot. So, but I just took advantage of everything I could do throughout the summer and made the most of it, because I feel like our whole team did as well. Because I mean, what can you do right now?
Yeah, and I'm speaking to other college hockey players. They've had to face many challenges preparing for this upcoming year because a lot of gyms were closed and a lot of ice was closed as well, so it's hard to find ice time. How did you try to overcome some of those challenges that you faced with working out at home and not getting on the ice as much as you used to during the summer months.
Yeah, I try to just keep a positive mindset about it. Like, I mean, during quarantine, I would just go work out in my basement and go shoot pucks in my basement and just trying to make the most of it. My little sister also plays hockey too, so we would do it together, kind of motivate each other because it was a tough time to stay motivated. And yeah, I feel like that, honestly, my sister and us doing it together, like that helped keep me like doing it, keep working on it, because that was a tough time to stay motivated because it felt like it wasn't really going to end. So, yeah.
Yeah. And another thing you did was you graduate high school over the summer, as did I. Did you get a chance to have a normal graduation, or was it all virtual for Minnetonka?
Yeah, no, we did have graduation. Our graduating class was like 800 kids. So we did small groups. I think it was like 45 outside on our football field. So we did that end of July last year. So that was nice that we got to see that, have a little normalcy again. And I'm grateful that happened because that was really nice, like fun and a good memory to have.
That's good, especially since a lot of senior activities were probably canceled, like prom and like the
Yeah.
senior trip that most schools have.
Yeah, they all were canceled, and I have some friends that were in spring sports that were canceled too. So the fact that we got to have a graduation kind of just felt like our high school experience was like wrapped up in a positive way instead of just kind of like ending just abruptly. So yeah.
Now, I want to start talking about the beginning of your hockey career. You're from Minnetonka, Minnesota, like I just mentioned earlier. How did you start playing hockey, and what was it like growing up there? Because it seems like it's a pretty big hockey town, because a lot of Miss Hockey Award winners played at Minnetonka High School.
Yeah. Minnetonka is a huge hockey program. Like our boys side has 3 different high school teams, and they have varsity and 2 JV teams, and the girls program is like growing by the day. And I got into hockey. I actually was a dancer and a gymnast at first. I'm like pretty girly. But my older brother played, and I just put on some skates one day and we skated on the pond or whatever. And I just started playing around like 5 or 6. And then I played soccer too for a while until middle school. But then middle school is when I decided to focus more on hockey. But growing up in Minnetonka was great. And there's a lot of high school girls I looked up to my entire life. And so I think having such a good high school program and having those people to look up to, it like really inspired me to play like them and to like keep working hard. Because I mean, when I was little, I'd go to the girls' high school games all the time. Like that's like what I wanted to do all the time. Me and my little teammates, we'd go watch, like, and it was just cool to see that. But yeah, our girls hockey program has been strong for a while. So I feel like that also motivated me to get to that next high school level. And then once I got to high school, to get to the next level too.
Yeah, what made you want to pursue hockey and try to make D1? Like when you were in middle school, was there like a moment where you're like, this is something I want to do for a long time?
Yeah, for a while, I was a huge soccer player until maybe 5th or 6th grade. And then I was just thinking about it, and I like soccer a little bit more than hockey for a while. And then there's a point where I was like, I think I would rather play hockey. Like, I think that's what I want to do. And so there was kind of like a switch from like one year where I was like, I'm going to focus more on hockey than on soccer. And that's when I started training really hard, like off the ice. I would stick handle shoot all the time when I was like 10, 11, 12. And I feel like that transition for me was like when I realized I would rather play hockey and I wanted to play Division I.
Was there a particular player that was your favorite growing up, and how have you tried to model your game after their game a little bit?
I mean, growing up in Minnetonka, there's our girls program won the state tournament in 2011, 12, and 13. And so there's a group of girls like in that age group that I looked up to. And so I guess just like those like main high school there's like Amy Peterson, Laura Bowman, there's some Minnetonka names that I just watched growing up, and Presley Norby was one of them as well. And so I feel like just those girls were where I wanted to go because they were playing high school, which I wanted to play high school, obviously. And then they were also committed Division I. And so they were just people I looked up to a lot growing up.
Yeah, and did you like watch the NHL growing up, or was there any player like that played professional, whether it was a women's or men's player that you liked the most, or was it just all people that played for Minnetonka high school hockey?
I watched the NHL growing up, like with my dad, but I wouldn't say like like in particular there's anyone. I mean, we watch The Wild like all the time, but I'd say more for me, like I looked up to the Minnetonka girls just because like that's like where I was from, and I thought that was cool or whatever, and I felt like it was very attainable, like I could play for
Yeah.
them too. So yeah, I feel like that was a big thing for me.
Now, something I find interesting about people that are from Minnesota was I'm not from Minnesota, I'm from Massachusetts, but the high school hockey scene there is pretty cool. You guys get to play in the Wild Stadium for the state tournament. From an outsider's perspective, it's just fun to watch. And what's it like to be a player in that whole scenery with the state tournament and just the whole crowds and just all that type of atmosphere that you got to experience?
Yeah, went to the state tournament my junior and senior year, and that was probably one of the coolest experiences ever. Like it's probably highlight of my hockey career so far. The atmosphere, I try to explain it to girls that live out here too, because they don't really understand, and it's just like crazy. Like our boys also won my sophomore year of high school, and we would go to the games and the stadium's filled, and it's just crazy that even like high school girls hockey, the Edina Andover final game last year, they had a ton of people, and it's just crazy that high school games can bring that many people. And I think it just shows like how big our hockey programs are in Minnesota and how many people like support high school hockey and like want to play high school hockey. I mean, there's little kids running around at our games all the time. And so I think it's just like the Minnesota hockey program is just going to keep growing. And I think the state tournament is a big like show of that, because I mean, they sometimes the state boys state final sells out more than the Wild games sometimes. Like it's crazy. It's so hard to get tickets. Like it's just a really big deal, and I was like grateful I could grow up and experience that, because it's a really cool experience that I mean nowhere else has really.
Yeah, is it weird talking to people like myself who aren't from Minnesota, just how big it is? Because no one, like down here in Massachusetts, high school hockey is kind of not as big as is college hockey. College hockey is pretty huge, but not high school hockey. So is it weird trying to explain that, like, whole scene?
Yeah. There's one other Minnesota girl on our team, and we were like, yeah, no one out here like really knows like how big it actually is. I mean, they know that the state tournament in Minnesota is big, but they don't like quite understand. Like there's pictures of like even when our boys were there, the whole XL Energy Center, and it's full, like packed, like there's no extra seat. And I think it's funny, like it's a whole different world. So it is a little weird, like explaining it to people, because they like it doesn't happen anywhere else.
Now, you got to play for your high school team in Minnetonka. Talk about that experience for a little bit and what it means to you since you grew up idolizing those players that were on that team and now getting the chance to be on that team yourself.
Yeah, my high school hockey experience was very fun. My last 2 years were great. My freshman and sophomore year, I was my freshman year I was a little nervous adjusting. I was one of two freshmen on the team, so it was kind of a development year for me, just getting used to high school, because going from youth hockey to high school hockey is a big jump. But that experience was so much fun. And our senior class last year was 10 girls. And so we grew up from when we were 5 years old to our senior years playing together. And we were all like best friends. And so that just made my high school experience probably like why it was so fun, because of the people on my team, because those friendships will be lifelong. And so, they made my experience in high school very fun. But yeah.
Yeah, and you were named captain to your team your senior year. What leadership did you want to bring, and are you more of a vocal or lead by example type of player?
I'd say I'm a little more vocal than that. I like to bring a lot of energy and like fun on the ice. Practice, I'm always upbeat, and I feel like kind of making everything a little more lighthearted. I'm one of those. And so I feel like it's a good balance between, I'm also very serious too, but I feel like I can bring a good balance for that. And our team dynamic was great. So I didn't have to do like that much like for team dynamic and leading like that leading wise, but I am pretty vocal. I like to cheer on my line mates, all like my whole team. And yeah, I feel like that I lead more that way.
I think it's good to have that balance because playing hockey can be very stressful, especially in college with all the ups and downs that a season brings. So I think it's good to bring some of that lightheartedness just to make the stress levels go down, especially in a tough practice or a tough loss that you might have had during a weekend series.
Yeah, I feel like that's nice to bring to a practice, or even like a little bit before the game. Like I feel like just play loose and always like just because I mean we're playing the game to have fun. For like at the bottom line is we love to play the game. So I feel like bringing that back and just reminding like my teammates that like, hey, like this is fun, like this isn't like stressful sort of thing. I mean, it is stressful like most of the time, but I feel like that's a big thing that helped our team last year.
Yeah, and how did your time at Minnetonka prepare you for college hockey? Because I was looking at your roster from last year. You had Maggie Nichols, who was nominated for the Miss Hockey Award, and she's obviously committed to Minnesota. What was it like playing against players like her in practice, and how did that help prepare you for college hockey?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Maggie was the other freshman on the team when we were freshmen. So I was always up against her at practice. I mean, I was a forward, she was a defenseman. So always on her one-on-ones and stuff. She's a great player, and it was fun to play with her, and I'd rather play with her than against her. So it was nice for her to be on my team, and she's one of my best friends. And I also played summer with her starting in like 6th and 7th grade. So I just knew her really well. And so she was a big part of my high school hockey experience.
And you were also selected to USA Hockey U18 Camp. Talk about that experience for a little bit, and what's it like getting the chance to play in that setting, competing against some of the best players in the country?
Yeah, that experience is always so much fun. The hockey's really fast. I went to the U18 camp my first year as like the younger age group, and that year I was like very grateful to be there, and I felt like that was like a big year for me, like adjusting my game to a faster speed. Was that summer I realized like to bring myself to the next level, I need to be able to keep up with these girls, these top 60 girls in the country. And so sorry, they're like they're banging at my door. So I feel like those USA Hockey experiences really brought my game to the next level. And then my second year at U18 camp was when I felt like something like clicked for me, and I was like, hey, I can keep up with these girls. Like I worked so hard from my first year at the camp to the second year, and I felt like that really like just made my overall play as a hockey player so much better. And also I obviously didn't make it to the next round, and so that motivated me to continue working hard. So there's other USA hockey opportunities in the future. But yeah.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about your recruiting process, and why did you choose to go to Boston University and go to the East Coast?
Yeah, my recruiting process started my freshman year. I was 14. And so obviously like being so young, it's very overwhelming, and I'm so glad I chose BU. But I mean, you're making that decision as a 14, 15-year-old kid. So it's very stressful. And so, but I chose BU because at first when I was younger, I'd say like middle school, I wanted to stay close to home. But as I got older, I mean, there's only one other Minnesotan on this team, so I'm playing with different girls. It's a different hockey experience. I love it out here. Like, I'm so glad I made this decision. I mean, the city's awesome. There's so much to do. And obviously the schooling is great as well. And the coaches, I mean, the second I stepped on campus, BD was actually my U15 national camp coach, my first ever national camp. And so I met him there. And I mean, even at that camp, he's such a great coach, and so welcoming, and the rest of the coaching staff is great as well. So I feel like honestly it's just a full package deal for me. Like the second I was on campus, I loved it. And I mean, the academics are great, the hockey's great, the coaches are great, the team's great. So honestly, it was just full package.
Yeah, and has there been any adjustment for yourself being away from home for the first time, or have you enjoyed it actually? Because I know some players like being away from home just because they can just focus on hockey and school.
Yeah, I'm a big family girl. I have 4 siblings, and so I was a little nervous about being away from home, but I love it here, and so I haven't really been super homesick. I mean, around like Thanksgiving time and like as we were getting towards the holidays, I obviously missed it a little bit just because I wanted to be at the holidays or like with my family at Christmas. And so, but I'm thankful we got to do that because I know some of my friends that play out here as well didn't get to go home for Christmas. But yeah, I haven't been like that homesick just because the environment here is so great, and I love being in Boston. So
Now, how are the academics looking like this year? I know at my school it's all online. Is it all online at BU, and how have you adjusted balancing hockey and academics at such a prestigious university?
Yeah, it is a very hard school. Balancing hockey and academics right now, especially with online, has been a little tough. I'm not the greatest at online school. I mean, some people prefer it, but I do not at all. And so that has been a challenging adjustment for me, just especially coming off your senior year, like online school, second semester, it wasn't as like serious as starting college online. And so the balance at first was a little tough for me, but as the semester went on, I really adjusted. And I feel like for second semester too, I don't have school for like another month, but I'll be a little more organized and a little better at balancing. But it was a little tough at first, I would say, especially with online school. It's weird.
Oh yeah, definitely. But there are some things I like. I liked how you can like just go to class like 1 minute before it starts instead of
Yeah, it's nice to
walking.
wake up like 10 minutes
Yeah.
before class instead of getting up an hour before and have to walk all the way there. Yeah, it's
Yeah, but
nice.
I think the only downside to it is I don't think you get the full academic experience as you probably should because you're paying a lot of money to go to college and
Yeah.
to not like get that like experience. I think is kind of a downside to it all. But I'm just trying to balance both of it out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's harder to like retain information too over a computer screen. Like I feel like interacting in a classroom is so much more effective, especially for me, because I'm such like a visual hands-on learner as well. So hopefully soon we're like back in class. But yeah, I had some classes in person every once in a while, but it was very like flexible with like how many cases we had at school and all that stuff. So yeah.
Again, another thing was the social aspect as well. Like I haven't met anyone from my college because it's all online, so I'm just doing it all at home. How have you balanced the social aspect of college since you're doing classes online? I know you were probably good friends with some of your teammates, but you're trying to like meet other people on campus that don't play hockey.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I have a team that I was a part of right away because that gave me friends right away. But I've also met some people in my dorm as well. But I feel like I would meet so many more people if it weren't all online and would be going to class. So I'd say my like core friends right now are my team, and also because we don't want to like be exposed to so many other people as well. So we kind of just been with our team, but I'm thankful that I have such a great freshman class too, because that's been really fun. I mean, we hang out all day, every day. So yeah.
Is the men's and women's hockey team, is that the only athletics that's going on at BU right now, or is like the basketball team playing as well?
Yeah, we are the only teams, the men's and women's ice hockey, were the only teams that started before second semester or before January 1st. Our basketball team is supposed to start in the next couple of weeks. They're here as well. We're the only teams on campus. We're basically the only people on campus right now. So yeah, I think they're supposed to start playing around January 8th as well.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, another question I'd like to ask you is, what's it like to play with Coach Deroser, and how's he helped your hockey development? Because he's obviously such a legendary coach in the Hockey East world.
Yeah. He's great. Like he has made my college experience so good, and he's such a caring guy, and he has made like my first games so less stressful than I feel like he did so great, and I've learned a lot from him. And I feel like coming in, having him as a coach, he just made me feel so welcome right away. And I mean, he's known to be such a great guy, and he knows so much about hockey. And I feel like as the years go on, I'm going to learn so much. But yeah, he has been a main reason why I have enjoyed my college experience so far, just because it's always fun to go to the rink because he's so welcoming and so like caring all the time. Yeah.
Now, what are your goals and expectations for the rest of the year? I know the Bean Pot will not be played this year, so is it just trying to win a Hockey East tournament and go on to play nationals?
Yeah. I think we're focusing on Hockey East tournament, going to nationals, that thing, but we're kind of taking it one day at a time because we don't know how many games we're actually going to get. We don't know who we're playing and when we're playing. So I think that's the end goal, but right now we're just focusing on our next game because we are coming off 2 losses in a row. So yeah, but those are our end goals.
Now, we're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions. My first one is, what's your favorite part about Boston?
Oh gosh, my favorite part about Boston is that there's so much to do. Like, I mean, and I can go walk down the street and go shopping all the time because I love shopping. I love to like that stuff. But it's been fun to just get to know the city too, and just go walk down to Seaport or Newberry or whatever, and just, I mean, there's so much to do all the time.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the city. I also like the sports as well. We have probably
Yeah,
the best professional sports teams, in my opinion. I'm a
yeah.
bit biased, but also the
No,
people
I
are
agree.
awesome too. So that's probably my thing, my favorite part.
Yeah, it's great. I feel like the fans out here too for all the sports they're pretty like intense. So I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
that's like a different atmosphere as well, because Minnesota's not like that either. So
Yeah,
yeah.
once you play your first game in front of fans, you're gonna see it because I know BU has one of the most hardcore fan bases in
Yeah.
college hockey. I went to a men's game a few years ago, and just the student section was insane, and like all the kids are like chirping at the goalie, so it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it'll be a great atmosphere once we can have people back in Wally B. But yeah.
Now, my next question is, what music do you like to listen to on a general basis? I guess.
Oh gosh, I listen to so much music. I'd say just like normal pop is like what I listen to the most. Me and my roommate, I mean, we listen to music all the time. I mean, I am from Minnesota too, so I like country music. I feel like that's like a big thing there. When we're on the lake in the summer, we listen to it all the time. But I honestly listen to everything. I
Now,
don't
who's
have,
your go-to artist? Like, I know Playboi Carti released an album on Christmas, which some people didn't like, but there was also Morgan Wallen, like a country artist, like you were just talking about. Anyone like that in particular?
yeah, I do love Morgan Wallen. I love Luke Combs too as a country artist. I went to his concert last year. I've always loved Justin Bieber since I've been like 8. So I know like all of his songs by heart, but I'd say Justin Bieber is probably my go-to all the time. Yeah.
I definitely like JB a lot. He has some good songs, especially some of his recent stuff has been very good in my opinion. But I'm
Yeah.
also a big Lil Uzi Vert and Lil Baby fan, but that's
Yeah.
just because I'm into hip hop. Now, what is one meal you could have for the rest of your life?
Oh gosh, mac and cheese probably. I eat so much mac and cheese. It's been my favorite thing since I've been little. Like that's my favorite food for sure.
Nice. Now, what is your favorite app?
Oh gosh, probably Instagram or Snapchat. I'm on those the most for sure. Or even TikTok. I mean, I could scroll through TikTok for hours and not get bored just because it never ends.
Yeah, I'm addicted to TikTok too. But do you make like any videos? I don't usually do it, but I know some people do.
Yeah, I mean, me and my roommate, we make the dancing videos all the time. It's kind of it's a good way to pass time, especially. I mean, right now we're in quarantine because we just got back, so TikTok's always a good way to pass your time.
Has any of the videos gone viral? Because I know one of my good buddies, his video went viral. It got like over 100,000 views.
Yeah, the most I've gotten is like me and my roommate made one on our media day, and we got like 2,000 likes. But that's the most I've ever gotten. My sister has gotten viral a few times, so I'm a little jealous. But
That's pretty
maybe
cool
one.
though.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool though. The 2,000 views. I can't even imagine getting something like that.
yeah.
Now, who? Speaking of your teammates, who's the funniest teammate at BU?
Oh gosh. I'd say Maddie Cardacy. She's a freshman, but she is hilarious. I mean, everyone wants to be around her all the time. She's so fun. We have a lot of big characters on our team too. Julia Neris is hilarious. But yeah, I'd say those two.
Now, BU has a lot of good style, but which teammate has the best style in your opinion?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Haley Blinkhorn would want me to say her, but I feel like our team does have pretty good style. I don't know one particular person though. I can't really think of it. Yeah.
Now, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, my biggest pet peeve. When people chew really loudly. I like can't stand that. That
Yeah,
is
I
like
agree.
my biggest one in general. But yeah, I don't have very many. I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if someone does something that I'm annoyed with, like, I mean, yeah, but I just can't think of anything else.
Mine is either bad drivers or people who don't cover their mouths when they cough or sneeze, especially now with the whole
Oh
virus
yeah.
running. It's pretty gross. So that's probably my two if I had to say.
Bad drivers is a big one too. I do not like that. Or like, I mean, slow drivers too. That
Oh yeah.
that makes me mad as well.
My rule is if you don't know where you're going, pull over or go the speed limit and figure out on your head. Just don't waste anyone else's time.
Yeah,
Figure it
exactly.
out on the right lane, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, last non-hockey question is: if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Oh no. Probably Justin Bieber. I've been obsessed with him for so long. I have to say, Justin Bieber. Yeah.
I think you have some interesting stuff. I think the thing I would like to know more about him is the off-camera stuff, like how he deals with fame, since he's probably one of the biggest pop stars in the world, and he's done it at such a young age. I'm curious how he's dealt with all of his hardships because of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, being famous when you're that young, and I mean, it's been like almost 10 years for him now. I can't even imagine, but I feel like that would be cool just because he is one of the biggest pop stars ever. Yeah.
Yeah, and he probably didn't really have much of a childhood too, so I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah, that's gotta be tough. Yeah. He's like made some documentaries or like some documentary like short films on YouTube kind of about it. But yeah, I think that's crazy. I would never be able to live like that.
Definitely, same as well. Now back to some hockey questions. Being a women's hockey player, what do you think should be done to help grow the women's game?
I think people should start watching women's hockey. Obviously, I feel like the more people that watch, the more people will talk about it. And I think the programs will grow. I know the Minnesota girls hockey program is growing. I mean, my sister is in middle school and she has so many girls at her age that play at Minnetonka and obviously all the towns around it, the big ones like Edina, Andover. I mean, they're huge. But I feel like it's just the game is getting faster. Like girls are crazy skilled now. So I think people would enjoy watching it. And I feel like if more people watched, we just have more exposure. And I mean, I think more people would talk about it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know here locally they show a lot of the women's college hockey games, especially for Hockey East on like Nesson and College Sports Live. But in Minnesota, do they broadcast the high school hockey games on like local television, especially during the state tournament?
Yeah, there's a few. They don't do it on TV, but they have a few like live stream like companies, I guess, that go around and they will live stream like the bigger games of the year or whatever. But yeah, I feel like the boys teams probably get a little more than the girls, but I feel like if they went around and live streamed more of the girls games, that people would actually watch, because I mean, a lot of people watch high school hockey in Minnesota. So I feel like that would be a good way to grow that as well.
Yeah, just having it on TV when people are passing by their channels, just to like watch like 5 minutes of it and get some exposure, I think would definitely help. And I know that the NWHL, some of their games are going to be broadcasted on NBC. So I think it's starting to grow, and I hope it continues to grow even more.
Yeah, me too. I think it will. I definitely see it growing everywhere, especially having the NWHL on TV. I did not know that. That's actually cool. But yeah, I think just more people watching, more exposure is important.
Now, what advice would you give someone who's currently trying to make D1 hockey? I know you have a sibling that's in that process right now. What's your advice to anyone who's trying to make it?
Yeah, I tell my sister all the time, like she'll say like, oh, I don't want to go to hockey like today. Like I don't want to go shoot today. But I mean, you kind of have to make yourself go do those things. And I mean, it's not going to be fun all the time. It's not going to be like the best part of your day is to maybe won't be going downstairs and shooting like a couple hundred pucks. But it really paid off the end for me. And I'm glad I had like my family and my parents and my coaches like pushing me from a young age, because I think that really helped me like get to where I am today. So to always push yourself even when you don't really want to, I think is the biggest thing.
Did you have to make a lot of sacrifices to make D1? I know some players have to skip school dances and other social events just to practice or play a game. Did you have to make any particular sacrifice that helped you along the way, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I missed a lot of things with my friends throughout high school. None of my friends were really athletes throughout high school as well. So it was hard for me because sometimes I was like, oh, they get to do all these things and I miss all these things. But I always had to put it in perspective for me, because I am going to play a D1 sport. And so that is one of my priorities. And I am a pretty social person as well. So sometimes that was a little tough for me, but I'm grateful that I get this opportunity. So every time that I miss something, I just reminded myself that, hey, like I get to go play Division I hockey. Like not many people get to do it. So yeah, I feel like that kind of helped me through that, like missing those things and making those sacrifices. But yeah.
Now, what should I do better as an interviewer to make this podcast better?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think you did really well. I don't know. I think it was great, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to improve because I want to obviously grow the platform and make it better. So I just like to ask everyone that just to make improvements for myself. That's all.
Yeah, no, I think it was great. The topics of conversation were good. So
Awesome. I appreciate it. Well, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give to any of your teammates, family members, or anyone else you know?
Um, I'll just say hi to my family. My little sister Tess, she's the one that's big into hockey too. Obviously all my teammates, my friends, my roommates, but yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lacey, for coming on and talking about your athletic achievements. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your season and stay safe. And we would love to have you back on the podcast soon. So take care.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.